Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels to short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts. Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm sorry about this voiceover here.
My goodness, your voice is getting worse by the minute, dude.
I know. I didn't go party. I didn't do anything crazy.
No.
Just can't beat this cold I have, but I'm here for you all. I didn't want to let you all down.
Dude, that's awesome. No, thank you for that. Are you doing some like lemon and ginger or something?
I just had a lemon, mint, and ginger tea.
Okay.
I just had that before we came on air. I got some tips from some professional voice actors yesterday that I spoke to. Just randomly.
Anything that we should know about?
Salt water a lot does miracles. Okay. Hot water with honey, like the old, stand through, Ricolas, and the tea that I just drank. So I'm taking them all. They're all thrown in there.
Oh my gosh. Well, how are you feeling? Even though,
listen, I'm here professional. I show up and make things happen. I'm at 70% though.
You have pajama pants on right now.
I'm in the office. If I wasn't in the office, I'd be in my pajamas, but I'm all right. We're good. And it's pouring rain here in Miami. So
oh my gosh.
Flood warnings going on for the next 3 days. So always exciting here.
Oh yeah.
But I'm good. I'm excited to see you. Got to talk to Will backstage earlier. So I'm here. I love this. Is my highlight of the week. But
yes,
we can't answer people's questions. Why can't we answer people's questions if they're messages?
Yes. So just in full transparency, as we always like to say, this is actually pre-recorded. So we just recorded this yesterday. Yes. Tuesday.
Back to the future. Back to the future.
I don't know what time it is. I'm still in Pennsylvania. So hence the lovely magic carpet on my wall.
I have to give a speech tomorrow. So don't you all laugh. So as you're watching this, I'm giving a speech, and hopefully my voice doesn't sound like this, to a big hotel group. I think you're traveling, right? Aren't you traveling?
Yeah, I'm flying back tonight. I'll be home tomorrow, and then I'm flying out Thursday because YOLO, that's how we live our lives.
But we can't miss bringing you this show. But still, we'll be commenting on your comments when we see them. So don't worry about that. We're still going to be interacting with you. So I hope to see your comments, the familiar folks out there. Love seeing you out there.
Oh, all right. Well, why don't we go ahead and dive into some topics? Get right into the meat of things. All right. Well, the majority of U.S. hotels have been facing staffing shortages, which is not necessarily, we were doing better. Now we're kind of back in the weeds a little bit, especially going into summer. And a new survey that was done by friends over at the AHLA, they found that more than 3/4 of hotels, so basically about 76%, are experiencing staffing shortages heading into summer. And by the way, the reason why this is significant is this number is up since the start of 2024. So as many as 13% of hoteliers are actually saying that they are severely understaffed. Yes. I know. I mean, it's still a tough time. It's an interesting market.
No, look, I visit hotels all the time.
Yeah.
And part of this 50 hotels in 50 days, which I'm pausing because I was sick. All right. So I'm giving myself a credit.
That's okay. That's okay. You were allowed to have a grace period. That's totally fine.
I talked to a lot of the middle managers, like the mid-level managers, like the restaurant manager and the front desk manager and the housekeeping manager, not the directors who are also having a lot of stress, but those middle managers are so stressed out because they don't have enough team members to help. So they got to cover those shifts. Then they've got their leaders saying, hey, why are your service scores starting to slip? Right. So they're getting pressure from the top. They're not getting assistance like they need. And so they're just jumping out. They're like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. And those are like the most important, because that's usually like the future generations of leaders that are hopping out of the industry. And I hate to see it. I hate seeing it because that's where you're supposed to be learning and getting a lot of support. But it's tough at that position because your team is angry with you. The managers, your leaders are angry with you and just kind of squeezing down on you.
Oh, totally. And we've talked about this before, and not only us, but like this has just been the general conversation in the industry. It's like, okay, well, how do we combat staffing shortages? Do we pay more? Do we have increased flexibility? All of that. Well, the study also found that at least 86% of hoteliers have actually increased wages. 52% have actually offered greater flexibility, and a third, so basically about 33%, have expanded benefits. So it's not for lack of trying. It is the market. And then what was it? Last month in May, 750 jobs were added to the hotel industry, or added, like they hired, and which is not a lot in the whole country.
See, we gotta look at that number and that stat, because saying that added just 700 jobs this past May is not much, right? And that's what they're saying in this AHLA paper. So that's nothing for the whole country. That's like a hotel, right?
I mean, my graduating class in high school was that size.
Yeah, mine was 3,000, or no, graduating class, yeah, 700. Okay, but so here's what are some suggestions? Because we're talking about it, right? And we're saying there's a problem. What would you suggest? I have a couple of suggestions, but what would you suggest?
I mean, a lot of it all starts with also, well, two things. Definitely doing more outreach to schools and getting that younger talent, obviously so important. And then also creating like good mentorship programs within your property. And that may sound cheesy, or people are like, oh my gosh, we don't even have time for that. But when I look back on my career, the individuals that took time out to either help guide me or make me feel more comfortable in whatever my job was, I mean, those people were instrumental to my career. And so I don't know, I would be curious to hear what your thoughts are.
I like that. I think there needs to be mentorship, just like coffee talks with leaders as you're coming up. And that's what I try to do with the Hospitality Mentor platform, because that's, you want to know how people got that level. But I also think people coming up now, me just talking to the I hate saying this, the younger generation, but the new people in the industry, is they're used to having things quicker. And I think there's a way to do it by doing like manager and training kind of roles, where you're getting tastes every month at a different department until you get to the place that you actually like. And then you can put in that year, and then finding new layers of positions. And maybe the pay isn't, this is what I would do. I'd add different kind of titles so that you're always kind of moving up. And so it's just a different way, because a lot of people are like, well, I never did that. But I think you can create layers of leadership roles to where you're getting a title, you're getting a little extra on your plate without making somebody wait 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a role before they can get promoted to something.
Yeah.
Because that's what people are used to doing, right? Everything's much faster now. You can achieve things. You gamify it a little bit is what I would like to see.
Totally. Yeah, no, I think that's a great thing, because again, everybody responds to, and certainly just younger generations, but people are responsive to that immediate feedback, that immediate gratification. Hello, we all live on our cell phones. What do our cell phones do? Give us immediate feedback, whether it's from social media, whether it's texting somebody, all of that. We're just living in a far faster paced world. And I think that is great advice that you just gave. And it also helps, where we've kind of talked about this before, but it also helps letting people that are new to the company feel like they're part of something bigger, because they're able to touch so many different departments, or just see, they're able to almost feel like, oh, I'm on a track to something. So they can see, at least, if not the next 5 years, they can see the next year. And sometimes that's all that matters, so they feel like they're part of something bigger.
Yeah. And having the input, being able to say, here's this idea that I have, I want to see it be executed. So part of this, what I'm doing for this hotel group, which I can't mention yet, is getting their leaders to come up with ideas for that hotel. That's not awesome. Just coming from the executive team. So in this training, I have the executive team come and say, all right, executive team, you all have to leave now. And they're going to say, we trust you all in this room to make ideas and decisions, and we're going to execute on the best 15 ideas through the rest of the year. Right. And so I think that's the way you can start doing things. I'll let you know how it goes, because it's the first time we're doing this exercise, but I'm going to get them all these ideas out of them, leave with a top 15 that they can execute through the rest of the year.
I love that. That's great. And that also gives a sense of ownership and passing on the torch, so to speak.
And being able to see, like, does my idea really work? Do people actually care about it? Is it feasible? Right. So I think these are all the kind of things that keep people engaged.
That's great. I love that. Look at you. Look at you with sharing all those knowledge bombs. Oh my God.
Imagine if I was at 100% today.
I can only imagine. I'm so glad that you're just coming in at 70. All right, why don't we go ahead and talk about our next news topic here, which came in from Skift. They were just dissecting what the major trends are in hotel loyalty programs. As we know, I mean, certainly Hilton, Marriott Bonvoy, they really put a lot of emphasis into these loyalty programs. You've got other different companies, like the Global Hotel Alliance, all of that really understand the value of loyalty. People want to know that when they are traveling and they're staying at a hotel, that like that stay is going towards a future stay. Mm-hmm. It's all about added value. And that's what's so great about the loyalty game. I mean, I can certainly say my two favorite loyalty programs are not actually hotels. Delta. Oh my gosh. I'm obsessed with the Delta loyalty game. I'm obsessed. It's a game, and it's like, how can I spend strategically this, that, use whatever, all my points. And then also who does it really well? Starbucks.
I like Starbucks.
Their app. I mean, I had to kind of curb the Starbucks situation. But they, going back to what you were saying before, they gamify it. So hotels are doing a good job. I feel like, and I may be partial to this just because of the amount of knowledge that I have on it, I feel like Marriott Bonvoy is doing probably has like the strongest visibility. I'll say that, not necessarily points per dollar exchange and all of that, but Bonvoy definitely makes it exciting. And I do love, like, I can open up the app and it'll be like, oh, here are some suggestions for place to stay and hotels. So, but I don't know. What are you seeing?
I see all those. And I just want to remind the listeners and viewers that they have hundreds of millions of people in these, these programs, which is an enormous amount of data. And now with all these AI tools out, you can really start to customize things very fast now for people within these data sets. That's really what it is. Like, all right, Sarah likes XYZ when she comes to the room. We're going to make sure we suggest these hotels because they have those things when they're there. That's what the app's going to show Sarah because she's let us know this is what she likes.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see it that way as it starts to customize more and more, because it's hard sometimes to book a trip, when you're going somewhere. And now even harder with a family, like, all right, I have to think about the kids and what does my wife need to have and how close is it to where we're going and what's the transportation. So anything in those programs that can learn more about me, I'm all about it. So like my wife does not want to give up the information. I was like, here's all my information. Take up, just make my life easier.
Totally.
Figure out how to make it and customize it to me. Apple, you can have it all. ChatGPT, you got it. What else? Who else wants some?
Well, here's the thing when it comes to loyalty programs is that it's all about value add. Whether it's value add this trip, whether it's seeming value add in a future trip, and everybody, with costs rising, with people paying more and more, they get it. Okay, we understand all prices are rising in every aspect of life, but they feel better when they're like, okay, well, at least I can get different perks from this. Whether it is a room upgrade, whether it is a late checkout, whether it's redeeming for a future trip. Dining rewards, like this has been so interesting too, is that you've got hotels that are branching out into like, oh, you can do like a dining experience, which I always thought that was an interesting correlation. I don't know if I would necessarily opt for that, but people do. So because again, it's all about the entire travel experience. So there are some interesting things that are going on in loyalty and rewards programs. So So everybody that's tuning in, what programs are you part of? We obviously know I'm very proud of my Delta and my Starbucks. I do have Marriott. I also have Hilton. And pretty much honestly, whenever I stay at a hotel, I make sure that I'm part of their program or if I'm already that I'm at least getting acknowledgement for that particular stay. But what are your favorite programs?
I'm curious to see what you all say here in the comments. And for me, I was the biggest American Express one for a long time. Like I use my American Express for every single thing that I can to get those points and use it to travel. Yes. But more and more lately, I've been booking directly with the hotels and through their rewards programs because I'm starting to get stuff a little bit better. And then my move for any of you out there, you can use this is I'll write to the GM of that hotel, just like, hey, I'm coming to town, not asking for anything. Would love to say hello and meet you for a coffee if you have 2 minutes. I don't ask for anything. And then I usually get something pretty nice after
that. You mentioned that before. That is a really great tip. And then going back to the Amex points, and I think I probably had said this, but worth mentioning, the most bang for your credit card buck with Amex points is actually transferring to airline partners. So that's the way to go versus hotels. So
I'm going to do it.
And as a hotel person, I'm okay with it because like I want to book direct when I'm staying at a property.
Yep.
That's always my thing. And yeah, so
I'm taking your advice. I got a couple of things I got to do this summer, so I'm going to transfer those points over.
Ooh, that's cool. Okay, so Hilton, we've talked about
Hilton. Ooh, I like it.
Ooh. Oh, by the way, for those that happen to watch along on my stories, for my birthday, that was a couple of days ago, my mother bought me, I don't know how ooey reminded me of this, but I looked over and I saw it, and I feel like it's worth a mention. My mother got me this sweatshirt that says, "Oh, how cute, dog supply." She's like, "Oh, I love dogs." I'm like, "Mom, is that Snoop Dogg?"
You're gonna be walking around LA. I like it in Snoop Dogg sweater.
By the way, I have also bumped into Snoop Dogg probably at least 10 times in my life. So the probability of me wearing this sweatshirt and bumping into him is actually high. And
ooh-wee.
If I saw him, I'd be like, ooh-wee. He'd be like, "What you doing, girl?" Yeah. So don't know. Thank you for that brief Snoop Dogg commercial break. All right. Well, we'll talk about Hilton. So Hilton has been in the news a bit. We've talked about it a lot, but they were recently at the NYU International Hospitality Industry Investment Conference. Anybody go to that happens to be watching, joining us? I would like to go one year. That would be cool. I actually went to NYU for a semester, so I feel like there should be some sort of situation there. But yeah, let's go. So, obviously Hilton, a lot of people have been eyeing Hilton because we know about the big acquisitions as of late, Graduate Hotels, Nomad Hotels, which is part of Seidel, and this really leaning into lifestyle brands. But what's interesting is that some people are actually saying, like, oh, well, because it's been a long time since they've done acquisitions. So now they've done 2 back-to-back. And so everybody's like, oh, well, what else are you going to be acquiring this year? And the CEO was kind of saying, don't get too excited. These just happen to kind of coincide at the right time. And people also were kind of arguing or even pushing back a bit like, oh, are lifestyle brands a bit of a risk? And he was actually saying, no, they aren't that much of a risk. They're relatively small acquisitions compared to other acquisitions that have happened in the past. But again, they think it's a nice addition to their portfolio, and they're seeing this larger growth. But I think it's interesting that they've been kind of like pinpointing that, and especially the risk element as well.
Yeah, but what I like that they're doing is I didn't realize it's been 16 years since they bought a company, so that's a long time to go. Yeah. When you see like the other brands buying things consistently and creating new brands all the time. Oh, totally. I like that these brands, they said you can't duplicate them, or they're very hard to duplicate. Mm-hmm. So the Graduate Hotels, it was very unique. That's why so many people loved it. And they were a little bit like scared, like, oh, they're going to ruin the uniqueness. And the Nomad brand as well, which we talked about last week, how it's going to compete with the Edition as their goal. And so these are brands that are really hard to duplicate. Yeah. And it takes a lot of effort to do that. And so they're excited about it, and time and hiring the right people and getting the right culture. And there's a lot that goes into it. It's a living and breathing thing when you create a hotel brand that's successful, because you can create one that's not, and you don't know you're staying in that hotel. All right. We talked about that last time. I think we had some people that were not fans of some of the other brands. I'm not going to trash anybody, but you walk in and you don't know where you're staying.
Yeah.
These hotels, you know where you're staying.
You definitely do. Well, they were talking about also talent, which is interesting, obviously, as we talked about, employment and still so many properties needing talent. But talent in lifestyle brands is such a big part of it, because it's all about the personality, and it's the personality, yes, in the decor, yes, in the location, how it plays up, the destination, but it's also in who is delivering the service. And what's so great in these lifestyle brands is that they do allow more personality of their employees to shine through. And so when they really hire right, that's what makes it such a winner. So that's also been another thing that, some people are watching out for, because sometimes when you do have a company that falls under a larger corporate company, they might, hold people in a little, contain people a little bit more, maybe have them be not as colorful, so to speak. So I think that that'll be an interesting, cross section that they're going to try and figure out as they move forward.
Yeah. And I think it's gonna be good. You get some new blood into the Hilton that sees things differently. And we talk about like the team. I thought in the hotels, I'm gonna give a shout out. The Delano Hotel was one of the coolest places I worked, and there was the most powerful person in that hotel, other than the GM, was this server. She was an Israeli. Her name was Etty. No, she knew every single person that came through that restaurant, and if she didn't know you, she made sure she did. Understood everything you liked, would have it ready for you. Always usually work breakfast, lunch. If you wanted to go somewhere, would coordinate it with you with the concierge.
Amazing, of course.
And it's like you can't replace somebody like that. And those are things I think you find in these hotels that are very special, because they encourage that kind of behavior in the smaller hotels. But anyhow, it made me think of that when you mentioned that.
No, I love that. And I love that story because, again, these individuals are the people that we need to be taking care of, because those are the people that inspire future generations. They just have something in them that is so unique and infectious, and it inspires guests, it inspires their coworkers, and these are your real gems. And whatever property that you're at, if you have a person that's like that, do whatever you can to keep them happy, because those people are the heart and soul of hospitality.
That's what the guest keeps coming back to see. They're not coming back to see that, sad to say, they're not coming back to see the food and beverage director. But I remember the thousands of servers that I worked with, and the pool attendants, and all these people there in the front. There's certain ones that are stars, and you remember them. And the guests always ask, "Hey, is that person here? Ah, man, they're not here today. That's too bad."
Yeah,
but that's when they're making a difference.
Totally. So all of this, obviously, we're highly passionate about.
Tangent. I got onto a tangent here.
That was a good tangent, one that we can definitely learn from. Certainly more insightful than Snoop Dogg. Anyway, airlines. What's going on in airports? This is kind of interesting. So the Charlotte Airport in North Carolina, they just opened a plane spotting area, complete with a playground and food trucks. And guess what? You don't have to be flying or have an airline ticket to have access to it. I think this is so cool. They've got a lookout deck. It's just less than 2 miles away from the airport. And it's open to the public. It's perfect for plane spotting, all of the above. But I thought this was really neat. And I'd be curious to see what other airlines follow this, right? What do you think? Would you do this with your kids, like one afternoon, like take them?
I think that I would, and you're gonna laugh because on my phone right now is this app called Plane Finder.
Stop.
And from my balcony, I have a balcony. I'm very lucky, very grateful. I have a balcony overlooking the beach, but I get to see all of the planes flying in. And one day, my kids are like, "I wonder where that plane's going or where it's coming from." And we opened it, and you can click on any plane, see where it's coming from, what kind of plane it is, what the first class, business class, all these things look like inside. And it became, I guess, my bird watching hobby as an old man. I'm looking at planes flying in.
Oh my God. No, but that's great. And what a fun thing to do with your kids. So I think that this is great. I love that they're doing this by Charlotte. And by the way, even they are so geared towards families with this. I mean, accessible parking, bike racks, so you can ride your bike there if you want. Restrooms with baby changing stations, just in case anybody wants to do that. But pet relief like again, they have designed this for the whole family, and I'm so here for this.
I didn't know that really exists. Like here in Miami, there's a restaurant called I think the Aero Squadron, where it's like by the runway, where people go for like brunch and they watch planes come flying in. But I think it's just pretty cool that like I'm not a huge plane fan. I watch them from my balcony. But I think the way they're setting it up is a fun little afternoon to go do if they set it up the right way.
It's a great afternoon. Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that because LA, oh gosh, I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but there was a restaurant, a rotating restaurant in the middle of LAX airport, which they've been under renovation for probably 15 years at this point. So shows you that people are interested in doing that. They love that. We certainly know that we've got a lot of AV geeks, friends of ours. I mean that in the nicest way. Okay. But people that are really fans of aviation, it's a fun thing. And you don't even have to be like a super crazy fan. I mean, again, you can do something like add this app and go, and it's fun to like see and do. And we can all daydream when we're looking up at a plane to be like, oh, where is that plane going?
Well, I know that Sarah's on most of them. So every time I look up, I'm like, there's Sarah. She's going.
On a Delta flight. There goes Sarah.
Yeah. But I think it's fun because we talked about this many shows ago about airports trying to do day passes to come to the restaurants and see some entertainment. And listen, I think it's unique. Why not try it? I think it's a fun thing to do and learn something new.
Totally.
I'd be down. I'd try it once.
The airport, so that's good.
I'd definitely try it.
That I'm into that. Okay, so our last little topic here before we start our final wrap-ups for the day. Instagram. I love that. We're going to talk a little bit of social media. Instagram has rolled out this new feature. For those that are on it, and I'm familiar with this feature, I actually used it the other day. They've got a notes feature where you can kind of put a note and then it shows up like in the top of the DM section. So all of your followers or people that you're connected to can actually see what the note is. And what people have started doing is they're actually asking questions. They've got prompts. So what people are doing is they're using notes prompts to ask people, hey, headed to Mallorca, what are your favorite recommendations for restaurants, activities, hotels, whatever? And it's a great reminder of the importance of social media in crowdsourcing and getting other people's opinions when it comes to booking travel. And travel advisors are even now using this too, which is interesting.
I love it. I got to play with that more. I do a lot of crowdsourcing on LinkedIn, a lot, but not for travel, just for ideas and how would you do this, and giving people like real world challenges. Like, here's the problem. What would you do? And I get a lot of great stuff that way. But I like seeing this. And I also look, we talked a little bit about this off air, was the AI tools now built into Meta. Some people don't like it, but I like seeing how all these things are starting to really pop off. And I keep telling people I want you using these tools. Don't be afraid if you haven't. Have you used anything like that AI yet for travel planning yet?
I've done it just to see sample suggestions. My only thing that I just have to make sure that it's all super accurate. So then make sure that, okay, are these places actually open, still open? Is that description correct? Because I've done stuff like, hey, write a bio for Sarah Dandashy, just to see how accurate that is. And it's not super accurate. So not to say that other things might be better, but again, awesome as a great starting point as a tool. And then you just kind of go through and refine from there and just double check your work. Check your work.
I agree. I did one because how I double checked it was we're going to, I won't say the dates here, but we're going to Universal Studios for a summer trip. And I wanted to go on a little bit of a budget and then spend up when we go to the park. Right. And I gave a very certain scenario. Here are the dates we're going. 2 of those nights, I want to stay in one of your budget-friendly hotels at Universal, and then 2 of the other nights at the Premier Hotel. And I want to get tickets on this date. Help me build the best package. And this is with the new ChatGPT 4.0. We have to have the new 4.0, which is reading the internet live.
Okay.
Right? And I gave it the scenario. I said, I want 2 different scenarios with options. It gave it to me. It broke it down. I said, then give me pros and cons and put it into a chart, which it did for me.
Whoa.
Right. With easily, so I could share it with my family, what we're doing. And then we agreed. And then I called Universal Vacation Planning. I said, here's the scenario I want to book. And I gave that what ChatGPT told me.
Yeah.
And I had ChatGPT give me a script to read to them, basically.
Stop it.
Yeah. And they're like, wow, this is a unique way to set this trip up. We haven't seen many people do this, but you just saved $1,000 by doing this. And you got a great deal. Yeah. And so
they said that to you?
Yeah, on the phone.
That's awesome.
I said, the way you did this, you just saved a ton of money and you still get the best of both worlds. and you're staying at 2 great places. They're all Lowe's hotels in Orlando.
Yeah.
I didn't call in any favors for my former hotel company. I just wanted to see if it would work, and it worked. And we booked it that same day. So
I love
try
that.
it. Talk to it like a person. Give it scenarios, very detailed, and see what it comes up with.
Ooh wee. Again, sorry, that's the ooh-wee. That's the word.
You got it in your head today. You picked it up somewhere.
I don't know where. Probably from the dog.
Snoop Dogg.
It's totally the dog. That's awesome. Oh, now I'm gonna have to try and play around with that. So definitely
give some very specific scenarios and see. But you have to have the 4.0. Make sure you're using the newest one.
So real-time recap. What have you seen out there, sir?
I've been sick. And I went to a doctor, and they had great service at this doctor.
Okay.
And I complained once. You remember a couple of weeks ago that I went to a doctor and it was terrible and it made me wait for an hour. And my kids, this one, excellent. Bottle of water waiting for you. A little, I mean, it was not the healthy snacks, but they were all pre-wrapped snacks and you could grab something. They told you when to expect to come in. I went in. So MD now in Miami. Great job. I will be returning. It was my first time there.
Love that. Oh, hospitality is all around us. I had dinner actually 3 nights ago with my mom, the night before my birthday, and we went to a different restaurant that she's never been to, and the whole service and everything, everybody in there, it was just such a great vibe, and it was so fun. And it's just the simple things of them thinking of about the next step. We actually had a dish that we didn't like, and I never make a scene about that, but at a certain point, I'm like, if something I really can't eat it, like I will just make a point that we just tell them. And then it's interesting to me to see what people will do. There have actually been some places I've been to where they don't do anything and they make you pay for the entire plate, even if you barely touch it, which irritates me. In this particular case, they were apologetic. They took it away. They offered something else, and then it was completely taken off the bill. And I know that's something that's super simple, but I have seen people not do that lately. So something as simple as acknowledging if you have a guest and they don't like something, it doesn't have to be a huge gesture, but do something to acknowledge that, and it goes a long way. So.
Yes, I agree with you. And there's some restaurants where we don't want to give comp the proteins. That's what they'll tell their service staff. Do not comp a protein because it's expensive, right? And they'll give them a dessert, buy them an alcoholic drink, get them something, but don't take it off the bill.
That's interesting.
I don't agree with that either.
I've never heard that before, but it makes sense. But yeah, no. I mean,
I've worked in an establishment like that, and it was not cool.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. Well, let's go ahead and talk about our hospitality quote of the day.
Ooh-wee. You gotta read it
all day now. I know. Hire those who were curious about what they didn't know and generous with what they did. I love this because, again, there's so much we don't know, and we always should be staying curious. I think that's the beauty of our industry, but also being generous with our knowledge. No gatekeeping here.
No, you're an example of that. You share stuff with me when I first met you.
Totally.
Like, hey, check this out. Look at this. This is how you do this. I was like, wow. So those are people you love working with, because they want to figure out how to make something work if they don't know how to do it. So they're going to do whatever they can to make it happen.
Yeah.
And the stuff that you need help with, they're gonna be, hey, I've been there already. Let me show you some ideas of how to get through it.
Well, you shared so many great, useful things with me too. So that's the whole thing. Is always curious. You're never too far or past or this or whatever to learn, and also to give back to other people. As far as what you've learned along the way. People still.
That's why I'm grateful to work with you every week. That's why I like being here. I'm very grateful.
Oh my gosh, is that your cold medicine talking?
No, none taken today. Clear-headed.
Oh man, he meant it, guys. He meant it. Well, wow, that was a great episode today.
I came, I delivered for all of you, and now I'm gonna go take a nap.
Conquered. Yes. Well, definitely well deserved. And a huge thank you to all of you who've joined us today, who join us every week. Honestly, if you follow us closely online, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, or whatever. We are both juggling so many things, from personal commitments to other work commitments. And when you guys tune in every week and you share your comments and you engage and all that, it means so much. And it helps power us through every week, even when we're thinking like, oh my God, do we even have time? We have time, and we do it for you guys. So thank you as always. Yeah, it's been a great week.
It's a great week and well said. I agree with you 100% on that.
And so with that being said, Steve, you need to get better. And next week we will reconvene in some part of the world.
That's right. See you next week.
Bye.